Good morning, everyone. Welcome. It's Sam Rattling here, and I'm super excited to see that you guys are all on time. So great to be here. Today's session is going to be all about the social selling index, what it is and why it's important. So these are weekly free sessions that I'm running. So it's great to see so many of you here. Why don't we start by seeing who is here? So let's start using the chat box. It should be open for you all to use. Just pop in the chat box for me who you are and where you're calling in from. I know last time I ran one of these, we had people, I think, from about 9 different countries. So let's see where you are all from. Hi, Rory from Sheffield, Michelle in Birmingham. It's a beautiful sunny day here in Barbados. So hopefully you've got the sun shining too wherever you are. Hi, Susan in Aberdeen. Mav in North London, Beth in Peterborough. Leeds is sunny too. Hi, Linda. Nice to see you. Anne-Marie in Sussex. That's my home part of the world, Anne-Marie. Great to see you also. Please feel free to use the chat box during the session and interact in there. It will be quite a kind of practical and interactive session. If you do have a specific question, though, I'm going to ask you to pop it into the Q&A box, which is just at the bottom of your screen in the webinar functionality here. And I'll be doing questions towards the end. We've got South Africa in the house. Hi, Ansel. Nice to see you. Amazing. Martin in Manchester. So just so you're aware, if you're here for the first time, so type yes if you're here for the first time. I know some of you were here last week as well. If you are here for the first time, I'm running these like weekly free sessions. They're just 30-minute bite-size platform-specific tips about LinkedIn. A lot of people are saying, well, why are you giving it all away for free, Sam? Well, I just absolutely love helping people. I know a lot of people are struggling at the moment. So this is my way of giving back, and it's my way of helping people and doing what I love, which is talking all about how to generate business from LinkedIn. So I'm a platform specialist. So that means every week I'm going to be giving you different aspects of the LinkedIn platform. So last week we talked about effective profiles. This week we're talking about social selling index, and there'll be another topic next week. So if you have registered for one of these, then you will get notified about future events as well. So great to see you if you're here for the first time. I'm Sam Rattling. I'm a LinkedIn expert and social selling strategist. So if this is your first time seeing me speak or train, then you're very welcome. The recording of this will be put up onto my YouTube channel afterwards, which is youtube.com/Sam Rattling. And if you did register via email, you'll get a copy of the recording as well to your inbox afterwards, as well as maybe a little free gift from me too. So let's get started. So today we're going to talk about the social selling index. If you've never heard of the social selling index, this is a metric or a scoring system that LinkedIn gives every single member of the platform, whether you are a free member or a paying member of the platform. And it allows you to see how you're doing with this thing called social selling. Now, before we get into the social selling score, I just want to kind of give some definition and context to what actually is social selling. So for me, social selling is a few things. It's about building brand awareness, building relationships on this platform as well. But most importantly, it's about staying top of mind with visibility and credibility so that when your prospects are ready to buy, they think of you first. You might connect with someone today on LinkedIn and you might send them a message and they might respond. But that's not where it ends. That's just the beginning. Over the next number of months, you're going to be connected. They might see your content in the newsfeed. You might engage on each other's posts. And maybe in 3 to 6 months' time, that particular person has a need and a problem that you can solve. But because you've been the one that's been showing up in their newsfeed, you're the person that has been constantly putting out social proof and building credibility and adding value. They think of you as one of the people they want to talk to. And that's when those inbound leads start to happen on LinkedIn. Of course, you can create them using prospecting and outbound activities, which I'll also talk about on future sessions. But social selling is all of those things. And the social selling index, which is what we're going to talk about today, is a scoring system that gives you an idea as to how well you're doing with content creation, with prospecting, with outreach, with relationships, all of those things that encompass social selling. So some of you know about this. If you've read my book or if you've seen me speak before, you'll probably know about the social selling score. If you don't know about the social selling score, I'm going to give you a place to go look at what your score is, and then we're going to dive into what it actually means. So let's start by actually telling you where you can find out your score and actually get you looking at what your score is today, because it goes up and down like a yo-yo depending on your activity. It can go up as quickly up as it can go down. If you take a break for 2 weeks and go on holiday, chances are when you come back, your score will have gone down and tanked a little bit. So it's important to know what your scoring points are today. So I'm going to get you all to look at your score. I'm going to use the chat box, and you'll see a link inside the chat box there. Click on that link. It will take you to see what your current social selling index score is. It's out of 100 points. And for now, all I want you to do is just take a screenshot of that particular score. And then what I'd like you to do is pop into the poll, which I'm about to run. So let me just launch the poll. I'd actually like you to, you don't have to give me the specific, but I'd like you to put what band you're in terms of where your current score is, okay? Just so it gives me an idea of who's on the call. Now, don't worry too much if your score is low. It's actually much easier to move the needle and grow your SSI score the lower your score starts. So for those of you coming in at kind of 0 to 25 or 26 to 50, you're going to actually probably see the biggest uplift when I go with you how to move the needle. So we've actually got quite an interesting spread at the moment. I'm just going to give it another 30 seconds for each of you to, wow, it's actually quite spread out. So let's have a look. I'll give it another 10 seconds. I've got 75% of you have answered so far. So you should be able to see the poll on screen. Just pop your score in there. It's the big score in the circle, like next to the circle that I'm looking for if you can't find it. Okay, so I'm going to end that poll. I'm just going to launch and share the results with you. So you can see that there's quite a spread. Majority, or 24% of you are down between 26 and 50. And then 32% of you are sitting in that 51 to 65 range. Quite a few of you are a lot higher. Some of you probably followed me for a while, or are out there doing a lot of activity on LinkedIn, which is what's going to drive that. The most important thing, though, is how does this actually translate into business, into real results, into leads, etc. And why does it even make a difference? And we're going to cover that today. So thank you, everyone, for sharing yours. I'm going to actually pop mine on screen. So a lot of people that teach LinkedIn will tell you that their score's amazing, blah, blah. I'm actually going to just go live into mine, because if you're considering working with a LinkedIn coach or a LinkedIn expert, if their score isn't in the mid-80s or higher, like, you need to be seriously considering not they're the right person to work with. So let's have a look here. I'm going to put my live SSI score on screen. So mine is sitting at 87. It does fluctuate between kind of 83 and 88. Kind of that's my kind of standard kind of SSI score. Now, you would expect mine to be high because A, I know what I'm doing with LinkedIn, and secondly, I teach this stuff, right? So if you are not sitting up there in the 80s yet, there'll be a few reasons for that. So the first thing is to talk about the different components that make up your score. So you've got this overall score here, which is the big number out of 100. And that is made up from 4 different components, each weighted 25 points. So you'll see the colors there on the right-hand side. Oh, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. I've actually just gone and clicked my screen away instead of actually sharing it with you. 1 second. I love a live training, don't you? There we go. Find it again, and I shall reshare it. Okay, there we go. Right, you should be able to see that on screen again now. So you've got, I was trying to make it bigger and I managed to click away from it. Right, so you've got these 4 different components. So the orange score, let's talk about that first. This one, as you can see underneath, is called Establish Your Professional Brand. So if you're looking to become like the go-to expert, you want somebody to be kind of really seeing your personal brand as like somebody that's kind of the person that should go to, you really want to focus on a few things in there for the orange score. So the orange score is made up from how effective your LinkedIn profile is. So for those of you that attended last week's free training session, that was all about effective LinkedIn profiles. If you guys haven't seen that, pop over to my YouTube channel. There's a free training session there about effective profiles. If you go through and update all those 20 elements of your LinkedIn profile, then that's going to move the needle on your orange score. The second part of your orange score is down to content. quality content, engaging content, and consistency of content. So if you're currently kind of a LinkedIn lurker, you're not really posting very much, or you're just kind of reposting other people's stuff, you're not really being an original content creator, that will be damaging your orange score here. So those are the main things that drive your orange SSI score. So in order to, so things like having putting out regular LinkedIn articles, having a LinkedIn newsletter, posting on the newsfeed 3 to 5 times a week as an absolute minimum, having posts that people engage with, things like that. So consistency of content, frequency of content, but also making sure that you have that variety of different types of posts as well, plus the effectiveness of your LinkedIn profile. So for those of you that have recently made some shifts on your profile, maybe because you watched last week's training, there will be an uplift there. Now it is quite instant, right? It's kind of updates every 24, 48 hours. You can check your SSI score and you'll see that there has been movement. I generally recommend you check it once a week. Like, don't be overly obsessive about it, but once a week, go in, check your score, and then track it and see how you're going. The next one here is the purple bar, which is called Find the Right People. So what LinkedIn is looking at here, and it's all based on algorithm, it's looking at how you are building your network. So are you proactively adding people into your network who would be deemed kind of ideal clients or people that would be in your target market? So either you're relying on those inbound connections coming in where you're just reactively building your network from other people connecting or wanting to connect with you, or you're actually proactively adding people in every single day into your network who would be good potential customers for you. So that's the prospecting element. And I'm going to talk more about prospecting and outreach in future sessions. But if you're not proactively adding and network building on a consistent basis, then you're missing an opportunity. So if that one is quite low, that will be the reason for that. So all I would say is just start with a number in mind. So think about, is it going to be 5, 10, 15, 20? How many people a day do you want to be adding or inviting into your network from your ideal target market? So that one is largely driven by your prospecting behaviors and your outbound outreach. You don't necessarily have to message them all, but you do need to be doing that invitation process as an absolute minimum to network build and put the right people into your network. So let's talk about the green score. Typically, the green one is the lowest one for most people. Just type yes in the chat box for me if the green one right now is your lowest score. Let's have a look if my theory is right. Linda says no. Okay, interesting. No, my goodness. A few of you, okay. I've got 4 or 5 of you saying no. Some of you saying yes. Okay, interesting. It's usually the green or the purple one. So I'm guessing if you've said no to the green one, it might be that your purple one is the lowest one. Okay, good, purple. So it really depends. So if you're not prospecting a lot, then it's going to be the purple one. If you're doing lots of engagement, right? So if you are commenting, liking, you're very active on the newsfeed, then your green one will be higher. But the green one is one of these ones that's made up from quite a mishmash of different things. So the green one is affected by things like interaction in groups, but hardly anybody uses groups. So if you're not currently using groups for managing clients, or you're not actively doing anything in groups, that will be impacting your score. What about engagement? So things like, are you spending a lot of time commenting, liking, engaging on other people's posts, but also when people respond to your own posts, are you engaging back on those too? So the engagement element is those likes and comments. And commenting and engaging can be such a great strategy on this platform, especially at the moment. I would be recommending to you guys that before you go and post something on the newsfeed, I would go and engage for like 10, 15 minutes on the newsfeed before you do that, because engagement is a really great strategy. And I don't just mean saying like great post, like really insightful, good, strong engagement on other people's posts where there have already been a lot of comments and a lot of likes. So pick a popular post and put your own perspective on it. Give your own opinion. That's what proper engagement is. And if you do that right before you put your own post out, you'll see a lot more visibility on your own posts. So the green score is about a few different things. So we're talking about engagement in groups, we're talking about engagement on the newsfeed, but both the purple and orange one are also directly linked to Sales Navigator. So there is something inside Sales Navigator when you're looking at companies and looking at people and looking at accounts where you get to look at the insights of those particular businesses. If right now you're on the free version of LinkedIn, you're not going to be able to make those points up. So I do use Sales Navigator. I teach Sales Navigator to corporate sales teams. So I do have like higher scores on the purple and the green, but you'll be missing out on some points just because you aren't a Sales Navigator user. So on average, like a free user can get to about 80 on the SSI score. And obviously, if you're using Sales Navigator, you can go beyond the 80 mark. But I haven't yet met anyone that's on the free version of LinkedIn that has gone beyond 80 on the SSI score. So some of those other points can only be made up by finding and using the insights aspects of Sales Navigator. Right, the final one then is the blue one. And that's all about building trusted relationships. So this is about how you are as a human on the platform. If you have never been reported by anyone for doing something in the inbox, if you've generally kind of building good relationships on the platform, your blue one should typically is going to be the highest for most people. So type yes if the blue one is currently your highest score on there, as long as you haven't been reported for spamming people, or that somebody's not blocked you or things like that. If you do have something like that, like a marked card because too many people have reported you for something, then you will see that that one is down. But for majority of you, you'll probably find that the build relationships is up there. If you're doing the orange, purple and green activity, so prospecting, engaging and posting well, and you're building good relationships and you're networking and using LinkedIn the right way, then typically you're going to be scoring fairly high on that blue one. So that's how your score is made up. Now, and as an absolute minimum, your target number you should be aiming for is 70, okay? Minimum number is your target is 70. So for all of you that are less than 70, that's your first kind of target to go for. And there is a reason for that. So you actually get an uplift in visibility on your posts at the point when you reach 70. So you'll see a 25% increase in eyeballs on your content just because your SSI score is above 70. So the higher SSI score, the higher your visibility of your content. So it does directly impact your visibility on the platform. So if you're wondering why your posts are not getting as much reach or you're not seeing as much engagement on your posts, this will be directly impacted by your social selling score. So for those of you less than 70, your target is 70. For those of you above 70, your job is obviously to keep it there. But if it's not yet translating into business, there'll be a lot of things, other things that you might want to look at. So if you're above 70, but you're not actually getting clients from the platform yet, there'll be a whole heap of other things that might not be in place at the moment. Let's talk about the other kind of scores that are on this on the screen here. So you look at the top here, you've got the industry ranking. That's the SSI rank of industry. So I'm in on LinkedIn, I'm in the marketing services industry. So that's the industry that's on my profile. This is telling me that I'm in the top 1% of people on LinkedIn who say that they're in the marketing services industry. So whatever industry you've said you're in, and you'll be able to see it down there, you'll see at the bottom there, it says people in your industry, and it says sales professionals in the marketing service industry have an average of 33. Now, the good news is that most people in your industry have a terrible SSI score. So it's good news for you that if you're above your industry average, then that's good because you're going to be beating your competition effectively. So that is you versus your competitors, you versus anyone else on the platform that says they're in this particular industry. The network ranking, Celestia, you've said yours is 32, right? So in your industry, it's 32. So if yours is above 32, it means you're above the industry average. So top 1% of network, what that means is, let's say you've got 1,000 connections. That's you versus your 1,000 first degree connections. So whatever size network you have at the moment, that's just you compared to everybody else that's in your network. So the one I want you to focus on really is the industry one. That's the one that makes the difference. The network one pretty much is going to be the same. They're not normally too different, but you don't want those numbers to be high. You don't want them to be like 78%. You want to be in the top 1% of your industry and the top 1% of your network. That's where you want to be aiming for with those ones. You can also see your people in your network down here. And if you're here from a larger organization, you'll also be able to see, so not all of our team have Sales Navigator. But if I had a team of 100 salespeople that all had sales nav, the team ranking would tell me where I am versus my teammates, and it would give me a leaderboard. So for those of you here watching that are in sales, that will tell you where you are versus your team if you have a license agreement with LinkedIn for multiple Sales Navigator licenses. So that is the breakdown of all of those. That gives you your score out of 100 points, and that's how everything breaks down. So does anyone have any specific questions? If you do, I've got one in the chat box already. I've got a couple of here. So Celeste, you've said, do you advocate inviting with or without a message? So I have a slightly different approach for different target markets, Celeste. So I have, when it's someone who I deem to be like peer level, so if it's an expert, a coach, a speaker, somebody that's kind of a smaller micro business, kind of like me, I will generally connect without a message for speed of building network. However, if I'm going after a chief revenue officer or a chief head of sales, somebody like C-suite in a very large organization, I will take the time to like look at their profile, pick things out, and then personalize that message very heavily before going to connect with them and actually use a specific message. So it depends on the level. For me, peer level or below, I will not personalize, but if it's someone that I really want a conversation with, and I'm obviously going to be teaching their sales team to do that themselves, I will personalize that message. So try it out for your own target market, see what results work for you. That's what I would say. Michelle, you've said on the industry average, if I provide leadership training services to IT, do I put myself in IT or training? I personally would put myself in professional training and coach, like I'd put yourself in the professional training industry. Few reasons. So people that are in your target market that are looking for somebody to do training are going to go looking for that particular keyword if they go searching on LinkedIn, for example. So I personally would switch it and not put yourself in IT. I'd put yourself into the training space so that when somebody does a search for IT training or leadership training, that you come up in those searches because you've got the industry matching. Entirely up to you, but that's what I would recommend you doing based on that. I get that your background is IT, but your background and experience can come through in your profile. What you want to do is make sure your profile gets found. So if you go look at the video I did last week on effective profiles, it's covered in there. So I would definitely do that. Yeah, absolutely. I would look at the other thing you can do is on your profile, you can go to your search appearances, click on it, and it will give you the keywords that you're coming up for. If you're not coming up for search results against leadership training, for example, then I would switch it and make the industry different. So you're welcome. Any other questions? I'll take any question on Social Selling Index, but I'll also take any question on LinkedIn. This is very much about you just getting answers that you need. So it doesn't have to be SSI specific. So Pete, you've said you've just posted a video last week that got loads of engagement. Do you recommend using video more than any other type of post? So I do recommend video for a number of reasons. It gets your face in the newsfeed. And if it's a strong, engaging video, this is the difference, right? It's always going to do well if it's a strong video. I would always be captioning the video. So because 85% of people watch the newsfeed without the sound on. So if you are going to post a video, make sure it's got the captions. You can use the caption feature within LinkedIn to, when you upload a video, it does automatically caption and you can review them before you post them. A video post will usually do quite well. We've got quite a few clients doing that. However, I would be looking at a couple of other post types at the moment, specifically right now. So polls are still doing very well. Like polls are my top performing posts at the moment. I know they got a bit annoying a couple of years ago or a year or so ago, and they were just everywhere. But a lot of people have stopped using them, but they don't realize actually they're still quite a strong performing type of post. And the second one, you'll see them all over the newsfeed at the moment, is carousels or these PDF documents. So what you can do is go to something like Canva or PowerPoint, create yourself a PDF, like an educational PDF, and LinkedIn turns it into this carousel that looks like the turning pages of a book. And all you're doing there is uploading a PDF file. it could be portrait or landscape, and those posts are performing particularly well as well. So you could be giving the 10 top tips for this, or 8 ways to do this, or the 15 ways to build pipeline, whatever it is that your topic is, but I would be using those to educate and keep it very high level. Not sure what I'm talking about, then go to posts and scroll down my posts and activity. And I've also got some of them sitting in my featured section as well. So, but yeah, not everybody's comfortable with video. But first off, I do want to applaud you for doing video, Pete, because like a lot of people are a bit afraid to get in front of the camera. And that's why it stands out as well, because people are scared to do video. So if you're not comfortable behind the camera, I would recommend, I did a post about this yesterday, actually. I posted my own video yesterday. I don't like being on camera either. I posted a video yesterday with a 5-day challenge. And that basically allowed you with 5 different things you could post. And it's not even about what you'd post. It's just things that you could, challenge yourself to actually create a video. And then they're not to be used on the newsfeed. It's just get on camera, talk for 60 seconds about this topic. Get on camera, talk for 60 seconds about this topic. So if you haven't done videos, I challenge you guys to get out there and do some. But you will find a video will get quite a lot of engagement, Pete, for sure. Because people enjoy watching. If you think about TikTok and YouTube Shorts and all those kind of things, I've got a couple of clients that do quite well actually reposting their short form content from TikTok onto the LinkedIn newsfeed. That can work quite well as well. So if you are doing shorts on YouTube, or you're doing short form content on TikTok or Instagram Reels, things like that, you could then be applying them and posting them in the LinkedIn environment. They will do quite well. Yeah, Celeste, you've said you've done videos, you've done LinkedIn Lives. I'm not a big fan of LinkedIn Lives personally. They don't get much traction, and it's very difficult to data capture when you're doing a LinkedIn Live, because you don't know who's watching. It's very difficult to then take people off platform. So when you guys have finished today's session, you'll get a copy of the recording. I'm going to give you guys a free gift. So I'm a platform specialist. I know all the ins and outs of LinkedIn and Sales Navigator, right? So I'm going to share that with you. But if you actually really want to make money from this platform, you need to understand the mechanics of how to do that. And LinkedIn Lives is not the best way to do that. So we're going to give you a free gift in the email that comes with the replay. So that's the reason, Pete, because obviously being perfectly transparent, if I did this as a LinkedIn Live and gave away half an hour of training, I wouldn't be able to know who's on the call, but because I've done it as a Zoom webinar, I do know who's on the call, right? So that's one of the ways that you can use LinkedIn as a traffic source to then take people off platform. But we go into a lot more detail on that in a different masterclass, and I'm going to give you guys that for free in the email that I send out afterwards, okay? So we're coming up to the end now. Sue, you've said, where do you specify your industry? So you just go to your LinkedIn profile and then go and edit the contact section of your LinkedIn profile. It's right at the very top, just underneath your header image. There's the option to edit your contact info, and that's where you can change your industry. Now, be aware that there are now 426, I think it's 26, 420 plus LinkedIn industries, and there used to only be 120. So you might find that there are industries there that you didn't know were there before. So just go into the profile, edit, and just start typing, and you'll see different ones come up. Okay, good. Any other questions at all? So if you've enjoyed today's session, I'd like you to share in the chat box for me. If you've enjoyed today's session, give me an emoji or a little comment. That would be great. This will be going up, as I say, on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Sam Rathling. I'm glad that you've enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, maybe just use this as an opportunity to create a post, right? Tag me on the newsfeed. I've got about 30,000 followers. So it's not a bad thing to do. Pop a post out onto LinkedIn, share with people what you learned about social selling or any aspect of what you've enjoyed. We're going to be doing another one of these next week. So it's same time every week, Wednesday mornings, grab a cuppa, 9:30 till 10. And I'm going to be, let me think now, I haven't thought too much about what I'm going to be doing next week, but I think I'm going to be starting to think about how you find your ideal client. So I think next week we're going to do a session on what's called Boolean search and advanced searching within the LinkedIn platform, the free version of LinkedIn, not Sales Navigator, but the free version of LinkedIn. So would you find that helpful? How do you find your ideal client? How do you do advanced searching, Boolean search? Who would find that helpful? Perfect. Okay, amazing. Good. That's decided then. I'll pop that up as soon as I finish today. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. I'll see you all next week. And remember, I help people make money, not noise, from the LinkedIn platform. I'm Sam Rathling. Thanks for being here. See you all next week.